it's a contract to provide that. So I was on the ability quality program for the Walmart for Los Angeles. Oh, wow. I'd get it. That's a low voltage go up there. One up it. Good try.
Snapped you up, huh? He said he snapped you up. What's up? Good to see you guys. Dude, nice polo, bro.
Oh, you're good. Okay.
Where's that?
Yeah. No, it's weird.
But the issue is like, we didn't
I have a
You should see the other guy.
so like it played for 3 minutes.
One day I have a little like
Yeah. You just gotta. That's how I feel with like how we have to. Just get to do them. People start asking questions.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm too busy.
They're just I used to I was at we go out like,
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Oklahoma Christian and Evans.
Did you ever go to the tumbleweed?
Oh yeah, I go to tumbleweed. Saw Merle Haggard there.
Really? Serious? That is way cooler than we got to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's turned right there. I've seen a lot of people there. That was a good one. But we would also just go there. Like, yeah, country dancing. I haven't done that in a long time. Funny, I don't know. My wife and I went once to the place in Meridian where they put the live bull riding. Not. They have a ring about as big as this area. They have a guy right here. The rest of it is like a club. You get up close.
What's the venture? Town? Yeah, so we wanted to come out and check it out.
It was called Town.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of it's worth it to go once.
The novelty of it all.
My wife got her ass killed. But
one time?
yeah, it was fun. We went with some country. How's your day going, man?
These part-timers just show up.
We had sales
Training.
sitting.
Claire killed it.
She doesn't. I can only make it.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah.
This is the last session of the day. So I think it is going to be a lot of fun when we're all ready, thinking of going home, having a drink, sitting in the hot tub, having a margarita, maybe get a massage, and then have a nice dinner and go to bed. So with that, let's get the last session going. My name is Adil. My friends, my customers, vendors, everybody tease me. A deal is a good deal. A few years ago, it used to be Advil without a V. No headaches when I'm around. And I try to stay up to that reputation. Okay? So my name is Adil. I'm the president and CEO of a research and development company. We have labs and we are a family of engineers. We find solutions for chronic problems in the world, in electrical, mechanical, whatever. So we manufacture mechanical equipment, electrical equipment, all kinds of stuff. So Dr. Ora here, he's so enthusiastic, he's so excited, he's so energetic. He asked me to make sure that I'm here, and he wanted me to be moderating a panel of experts. And today has been a great day for me. Don't you think so? Let's hear a round of applause for what a great day it has been. Excellent information, excellent knowledge, great history, great learning. Every panel, every member that sat there and questions that came were just exceptional and mind-blowing. So I want to thank everybody on behalf of Dr. Ora here. So thank you all for coming and making this a wonderful day. One more round of applause. With that, we have this team here. Aren't they a happy bunch at the end of the day? They're fantastic. So now, they're sitting in the same order as the names here. So in case you wonder who's who, it's not in the order of the photographs, but it's in the order of Dr. Bart Collins, Dr. Dew, Firth, Williams, and Butts. Okay, that's the order they are in. And of course, so I could be anywhere. Okay, so realistically, it looks like on the other side. So with that, what I want to do is I want to launch this with, we'll start with Corey Williams. We'll put her on the spot. Okay? Corey says that she's from the Sustainability Alliance. I think that's the table. Okay? So if you need any information, the stuff is there, you can grab that. But in a quick nutshell, she says that the organization exists to help communities thrive by meeting individuals and organizations where they are and providing them with practical solutions for a better tomorrow. Good mission. She says, let's work together to embrace a healthy planet for generations to come. Now, so the first question I'm going to pose on behalf of all of you is to Corey Williams. She says she works with businesses, she works with city and counties, and she does a whole bunch of other things when it comes to training and dashboards. So the first story, I want her to tell us a story. Okay? I want to hear a story about what you have done for businesses. When you say businesses can reach out to you, what can they expect to receive from you? Tell us in the form of a story so it will be an example. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Adil. Thank you again. My name is Corey again, and I'm with the Sustainability Alliance. We've been around for the last 22 years, and in that time, we have enjoyed the opportunity to meet with lots of businesses in the growth of our B2B Case for Sustainability series and scorecards. So the story is, at the beginning of the development of our scorecard program, we were presenting to CEOs and sharing with them the launch of our scorecard program. And in the room, there was a gentleman there writing a copious amount of notes, and he happened to be with Spirit Air Assistance. And they were applying for an RFP, and the RFP was out of Europe, and they wanted to know, what are your sustainability initiatives? And they had not specifically organized those. It doesn't mean they didn't have no recycling going on and all that, but they joined our scorecard, they won the RFP, and then they reported that within 18 months they saved $1 million. And I think that the thing that stands out to me is they didn't change what they were producing. They didn't change who they were, but they changed how they did it and their processes. So they started to really manage energy in a certain way. They had a cadmium component that they ended up recycling rather than just landfilling some of that waste. So it was, we loved being a part of that beginning of that process for them, and now they have been with us and won many awards, and we still have someone on our board from Spirit Air Assistance, and their team is grown. And they're expanding how much of their team knows about their sustainability initiatives.
Excellent story. Now let's put all of you to an exam. I need a question for her on the story she just said. Who wants to go first? Justin, I'm going to put you on the spot. She said she helped somebody and did something, and then they're happy and they're still with her.
I feel like I'm part of a game show. Is there a spin? Okay, I actually have a question. How did you convince them originally to work with you? I imagine that when you're in the actual meeting with somebody who is not doing necessarily sustainability initiatives, it's a pretty big hurdle to convince them to take that step. So I'm curious what that meeting was like.
Great question. What?
Better question than I could imagine. Thank you.
It really, in relation to one of the last panels, was partnership. So our CEO breakfast included the chamber, included a couple other companies. So there was this sense of support that came from those other entities, a sense of confidence, this is a direction they should go. And so it took less of a conversation and more okay, my peers are doing this, they have shared with me this is a good direction to go, and they wanted to win the RFP. So we're pretty cost effective. So it was an easy way to jump in and get started. So did that answer your question?
I have a follow-through question.
Okay.
How did they reach you? Why did they call you? How did you call them? Why?
So with our partners, we worked with them to come up with a list of who we should invite. And one of our partners said, you should invite Spirit Air Systems, and they showed up.
Fantastic. Kumar Mayek's group, that panel talked about partnerships. There is one of the benefits of the partners. Yes. Question.
So, I will say I was in a very related company and industry to Spirit Air Systems. And what I would say, just due to NDAs and things like that, what I would say is that I would give credit to Bruce Bremer and Betsy Duttrow from Department of Energy, Energy Star, with their partnership program, because they do a great job of holding their partners accountable to show evidence of what they say they're doing. Whereas the reports to the SEC and other sustainability reports, honestly, are not questioned in any way, shape, or form, as recently as last year. So I would say that we should work with people like Energy Star to replicate their accountability measures, because they were quite effective, and this is the place that I was working. Thanks.
Well, we do promote Energy Star within our scorecard program. It's linkable and encouraged because we do ask all of our members to benchmark their energy use, and we are big fans of Energy Star.
Thank you. Now let's run to Dr. Joe. I don't know anything about you. Okay? So let's start with who are you? What do you do? What does K-12 STEM mean? So, and why are you here?
Well, thank you. I'm so glad you asked. Again, I'm Dr. Joe Bendu. I'm director of the K-12 STEM programs in the College of Engineering, Architecture, and Technology at OSU. We were able to receive, Dr. Kowalski was our PI, he is our PI, a $6 million grant from the Department of Defense to bring STEM programs all across the state of Oklahoma. So we do STEM fairs, we do STEM nights, we go into classrooms, and we do STEM camps. We did 66 STEM camps this summer for K through 12 and reached over 2,130 students.
Fantastic. Round of applause for that. Excellent. Now, the STEM stands for, anybody? What does STEM stand for? We are a country of acronyms, okay? Like CEM, okay? OSU. So what does STEM stand for? Let's make sure everybody's on the same page.
Me?
No, not you. Fantastic. Guys, a round of applause for those people who had the courage to, make a mistake, right? So you learn only when you make mistakes. So they had the courage to speak up. So thank you very much. Science, technology, engineering, and math. Today the new term is called STEAM. They added arts in it, right?
We we like to have the ARC stands for, the A stand for architecture.
That's right too. A can have a double meaning, right? So beautiful, excellent. So for those of you that don't know, I did found, it's an interesting English. English is a very peculiar language if you pause on it, okay? So I did found a school K through 8, which we started as MST school, Math, Science and Technology. The word STEM didn't exist. The school is in existence for the last 20 years. The 6th, 7th and 8th graders in this school, I'm still on the board by the way, so I attend every meeting every month for the last 20 years. None of my children went to school there. None of my family benefited from there. So this I did for our children, for the children of the United States of America, and for our future. So that's why I'm doing it. I'm still involved in it, and that's why I'm here. So math, science, and technology, somebody named it STEM. So we adopted STEM. But because we also have a very strong architecture and arts program, we called it STEAM. So it's a STEAM school. It's called American Academy K-8. The 6th, 7th and 8th graders score more than the 12th graders in SAT and ACT. A round of applause to the students, to that staff, to the teachers that are doing it. Now that was just by the way. The real question is for this lady. She did 66 camps. Did you do one at American Academy? Or where do you do your camps? In Oklahoma?
We do them
Only in Oklahoma.
Only in Oklahoma at
Okay.
this time, but we're certainly welcome to branch out.
I'm happy to share your contacts, okay? Yeah. So now, what is it that one thing you want all of them to take home about what you do at your school?
Two things. We're a staff of 3, and in the summer we do have a near-peer concept, and we hire our own undergraduates at Oklahoma State to actually do the teaching at the STEM camps. 2, our grant ends in September of 2025. So for us to continue to do our great work, we're going to need partners to help us succeed.
It's all about partnerships. As Ashish said, it's all about relationships. It's all about long-term relationships. Right, Ashish?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But before you start, like the whole panel said, make sure who you're getting into partnership with. Thank you very much for that. Now, any questions for her? If not, we'll move on. I'm going to Ron once. Ron? Resource management. First question. What does resource refer to?
Human resources.
Human resource. Okay. So, what does Archer management do with that human resource, and how do businesses and partners, how can they benefit from what you do?
Archer Resource Management. And it is a game show. We're going to blow it off. Bad answers. Archer Resource Management is a human resources training and development consulting firm. And so we work with different organizations and groups around the country. I have taught leadership and management to the Bureau of Immigration and Recruitment in DC, to the 26th Aircraft Maintenance Group at Tinker, to the City of Oklahoma City, and others. I've also served as a consulting role at HR.
Fantastic. How can people reach you? How can businesses reach you? How can people interested in partnering with you reach you?
Well, I have a stack of cards. And I have a new friend in Dr. Oil.
And what is it that you can do for them?
So I'll give you a couple of statistics. Number one, 27% of the American workforce voluntarily quit last year. In terms of HR metrics, that's turnover. Almost $1 trillion in cost to American businesses for turnover, for employees who didn't want to work there. 71% of those who are currently employed by American businesses are looking for a job. can help you shorten that, reduce that. John was talking about, if we could save at least 10% off that, you're talking about $100 billion in saved revenue that could be applied to something else because of Germany.
I am not smarter than a fifth grader. So, can you please give an example of who you have helped, how you have helped, and when did they come, and then what you did?
So, I did a training program, a leadership management and supervisory training program, as I mentioned a moment ago, to the 76th Aircraft Maintenance Group. Some 400 supervisors that went through that program. It was a 2-week in-class program. We taught a lot of different things. The general in charge of that group was a big fan of Stephen Covey's 7 Habits. We did a training with those. One of the other things we did was a game in the class. Without going into a lot of detail, the ultimate answer was make green card decisions. And it was making decisions at a higher level, sort of win-win type of proposition. We finished that program and we got a phone call from his office saying, we're going to make you wealthy. We just signed on for another 2 more sessions at something like $2 million in revenue, because I walked into the work area, went by one of the cubicles where one of the supervisors were, and he had a green card stuck to his wall. And I asked him what it was for, he was able to fully explain it. And we want to keep doing that.
Fantastic.
Turns out I was an adjunct instructor at Rose State College, and I did that, that money came to me, but that was okay. It was still an ego thing.
Nice story. Stories create impressions and help people understand what you can do when you leave this conference. So you met a lot of people here today and you heard a lot of stories. So the story that impacted you is what you're going to use and you're going to do something with it. So now with his story, how many of you here would like to reach out to him and bring them on the spot after the conference? At least tell me. I'll put somebody on the line here. So I'll put my friend Kerry Roland on the spot. So Kerry, is there something that Ron here can do, not Ron, Ron can do for utility companies, and he is a resource management, and he told us a story right now about how he helped the DoD and the employees.
So something that's really important for a utility is to have good culture. Culture is critical for success. So, but sometimes with culture, if you have a strategy, like a goal for your corporation, and the culture doesn't align with the strategy, that can cause a problem. So how do we align culture and strategy together?
Someone mentioned, I think on the last panel, having your vision and your, what are the words here, but basically having your plan. What is it you want to do? Begin with the end in mind, by the way, here. Begin with the end in mind. What do you want this thing to look like at the end of the year, and how do we get there? And if that means a culture shift, it means a culture shift. I work for sales and service company. Their head sales person in their service department was toxic, and my advice to him was fire him. He was their head sales guy, and we fired him and we turned the company around. It was bad. We'd been there a long time, but he could not stop. And his behavior was detrimental to the company. That was the company culture because we let it pass.
You kind of gave away my answer to my next question. How many of you, or who can answer what is strategy and what is culture? Who should I put on the spot? Let's put
So strategy, business strategy, kind of breaking down your game plan, kind of overall like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do it, and who do I need to bring along to do that. Whereas culture is how you, more of the soft skill part is how am I going to relate to you so we can achieve that common goal?
I couldn't have done it better. Thank you very much. Round of applause for that. Think of your day when you wake up and how you're going to go about doing what you want to do. That takes strategy, right? What time am I going to wake up? When am I going to do something? What is the sequence in which I'm going to do it? And what is the end result or the outcome I desire? That's what he said. Think of the last chapter, the end. That is strategy. Strategy is a fancy word for what we have been calling a plan for centuries. Okay? So it's just another word. Just like AI is for simulation or predictive intelligence or whatever it was. So, and then culture.
How do you feel about that on Sunday nights?
Absolutely. Culture is how did you feel while you were going through that process? Were you excited about it? Were you grumpy about it? Did you cause pain to your colleagues? Did you make Justin's life miserable because he happened to be in the way? Culture depends on, like Ashish mentioned, like-minded people standing and looking in the same direction to start with and heading towards that same goal. Is everything aligned? That's where culture comes into play. McKinsey's 7-step principle. If you don't know about it, please look it up, Google it, ChatGPT, whatever. McKinsey's 7S principle. It's an amazing thing to understand how any team, any company, any organization can be successful. Very important. 7 S's. Okay. Now, let me move on to somebody who's been so patient. So give him a round of applause even before he opened his mouth. He's been patient.
I'm the poster child for ADHD. You can see my feet moving all the time.
Well, I love what your title says, Oklahoma State University Polytechnic. He is the Polytechnic. First of all, what is the meaning of Polytechnic? Can you tell them what a Polytechnic is?
He's really the Polytechnic. But no.
Sorry. Yeah. We already established you're a patient.
And he's more Polytechnic than I am. I'm Bart Collins. I in a new role at OSU as Director of Partnerships and Programs for Polytech, which is a collection of our curriculum across the OSU system, focused really on the key workforce development.
Questions, anybody? Questions? No questions for him? What does Polytechnic mean to you when you hear the word Polytechnic? Anybody? Because he said what he thinks Polytechnic is and what he has established, but all of us hear the word Polytechnic. So what does Polytechnic mean to you, from your perspective, when you say, oh, it is a Polytechnic, Oklahoma State University Polytechnic? You have to answer that question. What do you do?
Well, Polytech certainly focuses on technology forward jobs that establish a lot of the business skills we've been talking about today across the different panels, from many of the trades, electrical, engineering technologies, or construction technologies, but it's hard to divorce technology from hardly any of our curriculum these days. So,
whatever is not done in a university, whatever is not done in an organized way, whatever is not implemented in a manner that you can go directly apply to a job, falls on his head.
yeah.
I was not clear. But think, soak that in. University is an established organization established curriculum, established subjects for a program with an established syllabus, and then you spend 2 years or 4 years and you get a diploma. Now what? Life really starts then. Now when the life has already started and you don't have the means to go to a university, now you can continue and say who comes to you and why.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of our emphasis over the last few years is developing alternatives to our traditional degree programs. So you can think of micro-credentialing, non-credit curriculum, non-degree programs that can be focused towards upskilling employees within existing organizations. And universities, I think, like many industries, struggle to sort of deviate too far from traditional modes of education delivery, but I think we're trying, because we're hearing that the workforce needs are substantial. Those aren't always met with our traditional degree programs and diplomas, and how can we better redefine how we deliver education to Oklahoma.
Dr. Collins, I'm waiting for you to use one of the words that this conference is centered around.
Especially in clean energy.
No.
I missed the word.
No. Anybody here? What is the theme of this conference? Workforce, training, education.
Yeah.
So that is the word I was looking for. You explained all that very clearly. Workforce development, training programs, support for more training, support for making people more capable to do the jobs that don't exist yet. So a polytechnic is a great place to reach out to so that you can go train yourself to be anything you want to be. You may have a degree in photography or you may have it in rocket science, a PhD, it doesn't matter. You can still go back to polytechnic. Plus people who cannot afford to go to college, they have a place to go to develop their skills so that they become capable to go get a job. Am I right?
Exactly.
Thank you.
The best answer.
Round of applause. Anything you want to share that I didn't ask you?
Well, I think one of the things we heard doing roundtables around the state over the summer across about 8 different sectors and that many rural communities is that we're perhaps not doing it as well as we should. Right? How many engineers are here? Lots of engineers. I'm not an engineer. But I worked at a healthcare engineering center, and one quote I'll leave you with from one of the leaders of our center was, the healthcare industry is perfectly optimized to achieve the results it has. But if we're not satisfied with the product of the university, it needs to be re-engineered, optimized, but perhaps differently. So, very much interested in talking to any of you about workforce training challenges.
Very well said. Thank you very much. Now the mic goes to you. The best Institute of Technology. Is that you?
That's me.
Bob Firth? Yes. All right, guys, I got it right this time.
There you go. There you go. Let me talk a little bit about OSU IT. In 1880, it was a board for the U.S. military, and it was also home for children. Around 1947, it became the repatriation center for World War II veterans. And our longest standing program today is ACR, which is commercial HVAC. It's still going today. So we also have a prison camp. We're repatriating German soldiers. OSU bought it in 1947 for $1. The best deal anybody's ever done at OSU, I can tell you that. And today, I'm the Dean of the School of Engineering and Construction Technology, 700 students, 12 programs, 26 faculty, 7 staff. Our graduation rate with jobs
When they graduate, 98% of our graduates have jobs when they walk across the stage. And several of them chest bumped me last August the 22nd when they were crossing the stage because we are one big family when they graduate. We're Polytech, and we have been for 77 years. So I always ask students, if you're pretty good at using this and want to use these, then come to us. 70% of our training is labs. Our instrumentation, we have a bachelor's degree. You can finish it up in 3 years. We have 3 students just get hired. I won't tell what company hired them, but they're in the energy sector. $47 an hour plus overtime. Our average student comes out of our university making between $70,000 and $120,000 a year. So what we found out is that there's the need for doing a lot of this these days, and we're trying to get more and more students engaged into that. Give you an example about a high school. Tulsa Public Schools, and this is the workforce. So I'm trying to find pathways for these students out of high school. As Kyle Ray said at our meetings, Polytech meetings, he doesn't care about Stillwater. We're going to get 5,000 students at Stillwater. We need to help industry get workers, okay? Tulsa Public Schools, give you an example. What do you think their their attendance rate is for K through 12? 54%. 54%. So we've started embedding some of our programs into the high school. We picked Union High School. We just started ACR, which is commercial HVAC and electric construction. Those students are, man, you talk about engaged. They had to apply for this to get in. We have a waiting list now. I went over and talked to them. They're probably not going to be college ready. They can't make the GPA requirements, but let me tell you something. They can wire up a PLC box. They can wire up a junction box. They can run all that AC equipment already after 3 weeks. So we need to focus on getting students graduated and into the workforce. Keep them out of gangs. One example, one of the guys, when I went in last week, they had somebody get shot. They were at a party. So I explained to them, nothing happens good after midnight, okay? So I said, what happened at the party? Well, one kid pulled the clip out of the gun still had a bullet in it. And being a concealed carry trainer that I am, it's like, what were they doing? Well, he shot his best friend. You know, he didn't realize there was a bullet in there. So it's like, we've got to pass along our knowledge and expertise to these young people. So another thing, we have what we call the Go Lab now. We have a 40-foot trailer that it's really a STEM trailer with all the things that we do in the 12 programs. We're rolling it to high schools now, so they can see the things we can do. We've got to educate these students about energy programs all the way across the board, whether it's electric construction, power plant. We have educated half the linemen for PSO and OG&E in this state. Came out of that school, one single school. You know why? Safety, safety, and more safety. So every one of our labs is branded safety first. So we've got to we need everybody in this room to go to these K-12 schools and talk about energy, renewable energies. In our electric construction, we're putting in solar, so they can understand switchgear. Our Go Lab, we can run it on solar panels. Our instrumentation group wired it up. We took it to a place for 3 days and run it off solar panels. So it's like, get the students engaged in these programs and get them excited about it. It's amazing. These underserved students is where it's happening. They need jobs and get them out of 3 generations of gangbanging and all this stuff. They taught me all the gang signals, so, you know, signs and things. So that's one of the bad things they've done for me. Now I go around flash gang signs and run real fast. But no, it's like you guys can have the biggest impact on changing lives right here in this room. Just take a little time to do that. So you can tell I'm kind of passionate about it. I started at 19. I was one of those, lived out of my car for 7 months before I went to work. Started my first company, sold it, went on and did some other things, rang the opening bell to New York Stock Exchange. I tell that story because you can be like me, be better than me. You don't want to do this, some things I've done. But it's like, tell them examples, how you got successful, how you got there. It's not easy. They understand that part's about not being easy. Just tell them your story. They want to hear those stories. They want to ask you questions. We're going back the other day. I said, I'm going to help you with resumes. I'm going to help you with interviewing. I said, don't wear shorts and flip-flops to an interview. One thing Bart and I heard about at the Polytech meeting says, can you educate our workforce on soft skills, life skills? We have PhDs coming in that can't interview. You know, so it runs the gamut. So that's what we're working on, is how do we hit and start bringing these students along, as well as your workforce, customized training. Some things that we're working on is PLCs, advanced PLCs, motors and controls, all those things, so we can help your industry advance as well. So,
wonderful. You are wonderful. Thank you very much. Any questions, guys? This session and this panel is about educate, train, and retain employees. So anybody wants to ask any specific questions to them, because they're all about education, training, retention. So go ahead.
I just want to follow up on his comment. Another thing that we're able to do is train teachers. So this summer we had 10 teacher trainings and trained over 103 teachers from K through 12 to help them teach STEM activities to their classroom, and they gave them the supplies so on day one they were ready to teach their STEM activities with the students. And we can't do all this without a person who's standing in the back who is our teacher manager. She was in the classroom for 16 years. Mary, go ahead and wave your hand there. Thank you, Mary, for all you do.
Good time to act. The
So
ball
I think
rolling.
soft skills
Yeah.
is a recurring message. We even heard that on panels today. So one of our respondents on the panels referred to when they were asking their managers about how we could better educate them. Her response was, train them not to be a dumbass. So I'm not sure what that curriculum looks like, but workplace skills, and some of these don't represent, I would say, aptitudinal deficits, but maybe motivational ones. How do you get students excited about careers? And that was a discussion today. Concerns job hopping, you invest in someone and they leave for an extra 50 cents. And I mean, the challenges in the workforce are pretty broad and well beyond energy and engineering.
It's people we are dealing with, folks. People. So we need to first understand everybody is different. That is one single thing that I have learned in life is I recognize that everybody is different, and that helps me understand everybody, helps me not judge anybody, not have an opinion about somebody, because everybody is perfect the way God made them. And not everybody can learn the same way. Not everybody can do the same thing just as good as Cody can do it, for example, or anybody else. Everybody has different skills, different expertise, so it's very important to understand when we educate, it is not the transmission, which may be important in some way. If you're not transmitting correctly, that could be a problem. But let's say that the transmission is perfect. It's the receiver that is more important. So in the school where I sit on the board, the teachers are graded and they have a job and they have a next year's contract based on the student performance. That is the reason why it is a top performing school in the country, and 8th graders can go to any school they choose to go. It's transmission and receiving and understanding that people are people and they all have different ways of receiving. And also they have a different way of transmitting. So when it comes to education, training and retention, especially retention, all of you have heard of Myers-Briggs, that is our generation. People are talking about young people. Now you talk about emergenetics. You talk about all different things, the color coding. In fact, I went through that at the school and had every teacher go through, not Myers-Briggs, but the emergenetics. Look up what emergenetics is. What it does is, it just puts 4 colors in a circle, in a pie chart, and you put it on your classroom. The teacher, Mrs. Bostwick, these are her colors. Mrs. Suzanne, this is her colors. Now they have green, yellow, yellow, blue, and red. 4 colors. Now, people who have red, I have a good example of red. Okay, so red means social, easy. I can talk, I can communicate, you can talk to me any which way you want. I'm fine. That's red. So the first step to good education, good training, and especially retention is, if she has a lot of blue in her circle, I'm picking on it. I'm picking on it. Pretend that you're all blue. But if I know she's all blue, am I going to even go say hello to her when I'm passing by? I won't, because she wants to hide. She doesn't want to be seen. Anybody with blue don't want to be seen. You should send them a memo or an email or write to them, because they want to soak that in, receive it in, and then respond. Then the yellows are conceptual. The moment you start talking, before Dr. Vora completes the sentence, they already conceptualize. They already know what the sentence is going to finish with. So when you know somebody is yellow, you structure your communication with them, because they don't need to be explained like a second grader. So these things are very important to understand in education, training, and retention. I'm not an educator, even though I am an educator. I go to schools, I built the Center for Management Excellence and associated with the university, and I do a lot of training, a lot of workshops. My wife's company does mechanical and electrical training. She's a woman-owned company, okay? Now, she sends out this training flyer. In fact, I just saw some things copied back to me. Like you guys were just talking about, the response comes back from businesses. They want, do you have stress management training? Do you have managing conflict at the workplace? Do you have presentation skills training? These are the kind of responses coming back in response to NFPA training or mechanical training or PLC training, and she's a woman-owned federal government contractor, okay? So she deals with federal government. But the response is, they are not looking for technical know-how. Everybody is doing a fantastic job. Whoever is working, they know what to do, but they don't know how to work with their colleague. So, questions, guys? Any questions? Educate, train, and retain is the theme here. So, we heard a lot from him. I want to hear about your what you do monthly, because Sustainability Alliance is a big one. Right? It's huge. It can be anything that I want to assume. So can you clarify on what you do monthly? And you said you also work with cities and counties and universities, for example. City, give a story on what you did with the city.
Sure, thank you. The Sustainability Alliance, we're really about the collaboration and meeting people where they are. So from a business perspective, we have our B2B Case for Sustainability series, and we meet quarterly. And this is a chance to bring experts, kind of like today, and to really drill down into some topics. And one of the last ones we did, we brought people together to talk about the intersection of mental health and sustainability. And it was an amazing panel, and I heard some iterations of that up here. And one of the companies that was on the panel, they provide all kinds of therapy for their staff as much as they would need, because they want to see them succeed. And so I think it's important to think about not only what color they are, but also what they need to excel. People go through things, and to be that culture, your company culture, to support that. So our B2B Case for Sustainability series covers lots of different topics that address the sustainability world within the business community. We also have a First Thursday program. These are our education programs. And our First Thursday program meets now quarterly with pop-ups. And our focus this last year has been talking about our river in Tulsa. The Rensselaer River is Arkansas River. And some of the challenges that we're looking at from the perspective of water quality and use and safety. And so we're all about bringing different types of members of our community together. We work with the City of Tulsa Design Studio as well as other collaborators to really drill down into what are the concerns. And it goes back to that partnership piece. You know, who are the partners and what is that goal? Where do we want to be and how do we get there together? Because we'll definitely need the partnerships in that. And so those are two of our educational programs. And then we have tools as well that give
She mentioned a lot about scoreboard at least 2 or 3 times in that conversation. How many of you know what a scoreboard is? Can you go ahead and just tell what a scoreboard is? What do you mean by scoreboard? It's like a baseball or a basketball or football scoreboard.
It is that, but for us, it's scorecard, and actually Carrie was involved in helping in the development of scorecard, which is a strategy for businesses to really track their business around that triple bottom line of people, profit, and planet. And it has 7 categories and 100 KPIs really to help your business. And one of the things that I heard today is this is definitely all about energy and retaining and training those individuals to help with that energy management. But I think it's also really important is that, you know, that entrance in may be something else, or there may be an entrance after the energy management. And there are different types of folks within a company that are really going to be your point person. I was talking with Justin there that, you know, one of the things is sometimes it's going to be a communication person that is going to be your sustainability manager of that company, or it might be your EHS or something like that. I think what's important is you have that top-down support to make sure that your team can really excel and understand what that company is really needing. And maybe energy is the first piece. You know, I mentioned Spirit Air Systems. Of course, they were looking to save money and really get their sustainability program going. But after they had saved all that money, their big thing is they were really excited about doing a community engagement piece with their employees and their families, and it was to plan a monarch way station. And that was, you know, it was that engagement piece, that health and wellness that they created at their place of employment. So I think it can lead to other things that are important to that mental health and physical health of our employees, kind of on that retention. And meeting them where they are. So I think it's, you know, it's that collaboration and the partnership and caring about them as humans to make sure they excel.
Sustainability, alliance, right? So sustainability in our world of energy, what does it mean? Energy sustains, but sustainability is much broader than that. So sustaining your attitude to go to work every day, sustaining your mental sanity is another thing. So there's so many things associated with the word sustainability. It is very important that we find a good balance, but you cannot find a balance because somebody earlier mentioned in first panel this morning, validation for new technologies. The second point they said was awareness and acceptance. If you're not aware of something, how do you accept something? If you don't accept something, how do you deal with something, right? Are we over time or are we getting closer? We're getting close? Okay. So now, does anybody have any questions or you want to, yes?
Oh, I thought you were giving a signal that showed I didn't realize you wanted to say.
No, the one question I want to ask is like, how Center of Excellence can help you, or what you can provide us a help to promote workforce development in community workforce, in educating, training, and retaining.
Very good. And it goes both ways too.
So, while you answer that, what can the Center of Excellence do to assist you to get where you want to go? And what is it that you can the converse of that. What do you want from all of us? And what is it that we can give to the panel here? Anybody?
I think the thing I've not heard today is how do we create companies that are employers of choice? Unemployment rate is at the lowest it's been in decades. Everybody wants a job, has a job. How are you going to attract them? The standard question is, why do you want to come to work for us? The new question is, why would I want to come to work for you? And why would I want to stay here? And we need to internally answer those questions. And so a driving agenda, if you will, from the Center for Excellence is how do we help you create organizations that are employers of choice, Malcolm Baldrige Award winners? How do we look at doing those things for you? And I'm assuming there's going to be an assessment or survey at the end of the day tomorrow, and we'll be able to ask those questions of them as well.
So we need to help with the questions that are not coming up. But there'll be a lot of them coming up. Like you are interviewing me for a job, I'm going to ask you, why should I join you? Why should I come to work for you? That is a very important question, and there is a new generation question that's coming. We have 2 or 3 more minutes here, so I want to make sure that if there was something you are dying to get off your chest, what is it that you didn't do it, so please do it now. You have 3 minutes.
Just quickly, I think what Dr. Moore is doing with the energy app and those type of things, I've been responsible for 100 megawatts of load on energy systems, processing plants over the last 25 years. If you can save 1% of that $30 or $40 million a year that we were spending, that's huge. I think that application goes all the way to the households. So if you start thinking about and managing your load between, like PSO and I were talking about, between 2 and 8 o'clock in the evening, you save so much energy that can go back to the workforce and those kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, we hope that we can support the Center for Excellence here is that, through education and training, we've been doing that for a very long time. We'd love to continue with that and support the work that you're doing. It is so exciting, and, for us, energy is a piece of that, so being a part of, expanding that opportunity beyond energy when it comes to sustainability of the workforce. Additionally, one thing we're working on now is to get into the schools and really help them kick off their sustainability journey. And I love the app. I thought it was amazing. And so we would love to be able to help get that into schools, with the schools we're working with, because I just see them getting so excited. And that's the whole thing, is getting them excited to want to be a part of this. So hats off to you. Congratulations.
That is really commendable. That app that I saw is something I want to put it in the hands of as many people as possible, because it is worth the days of work before you gather. But if somebody just goes through the app, you can get all the information you need very quickly. And Dr. Jim?
Help us excite the next generation of engineers, technologists, and architects. We are out there, we're in the schools. We can take the clean energy curriculum to the schools. And so thank you, Dr. Moore, for always supporting us when we have symposiums for 9th graders or 2nd graders. They come out and have a group with us, so we appreciate you. So thank you.
Last but not the least, 2 lines.
One of the great things about this is that it brings industry leaders here to tell us as educational institutions how to provide more service. We need to speak loudly and clearly to us about what those are.
Fantastic. So we still have 35 seconds according to my watch before the session is over. Yes, question.
I guess it's a question, comment, and also response to Dr. Vora's, how can you help us? So I don't know who all have heard the term building life cycle cost. I'm sure you did. Most of the CEMs have. So I was having this conversation with my CEO last week, and I think, and I don't know, maybe the tool exists in the industry, but basically what we were talking about is, we all know whenever there is a project there is a budget developed for the project. Now what happens is, more often than not, when the buildings are designed, it exceeds the budget based on the sustainable design. And then they look into cutting the cost, initial cost of construction for the building to meet the budget. So the discussion I was having with my CEO is, if I'm the client, I'm the end client, yes, cutting the budget is important for me because I have limited budget. But if a designer comes to me and say that, Ashish, you have $5 million budget for this building. I understand my design, a sustainable design, is going to cost you $5.5 million. But look at the life cycle cost of this building. With $5.5 million over the 20-year, 30-year, 40-year life, you'll be spending $20 million. But with the $5 million, you'll be spending $25 million. So if somebody comes to me with those kind of comparison before a final decision is made, I think as an end client, more than likely, I will find that $500,000 somewhere, or I will have a private investor invest that $500,000 with me, and you know what? Over the life cycle, the savings are large enough to give me back. So again, just a question and a comment, is there a tool, something like that, to show the comparison? And if yes, that's great, let's get it in the hands of the designers. If not, maybe the Center of Excellence can help us to do something like that.
Ashish is brilliant, guys. I have known him in the last 12 months, met him a few times, and when he opens his mouth, it's like pearls dropping off. Basically, you know what he said? You throw peanuts, you get monkeys. That's a term I borrowed from my father. So if somebody wants to do something that costs $6 million and they want to do for $5 million, guess what happened? You got something called fixed or repaid daily. Yeah. So you know what I mean? Fixed or repaid daily is not less expensive than the $500,000 that he was talking about. Whenever a client says reduce costs, guess what I say? Hey, it just went up another $500,000. It's now $6 million. You want to work with me? Work with me. In fact, I just had a conversation last week with a brand new building, less than 4 years old, and it has problems. Pumps and motors are getting replaced. A lot of mechanical engineers here. So the shafts, bearings, they're all failing. Less than 4 years. Back to design. Now, how many of you have heard of 480 volts and 208 volts? Three-phase systems. Do you know what the difference is for the rest of you? 480 volts is a commercial grade power service coming into buildings. What you're plugging into the wall is 120 volts. You don't use 480 volts in your socket outlet where you plug in, so that if you do the things that we do, half of us won't be alive. 480 volt kills. But 480 volt consumes 4 times less power than 120 volts. That is the difference. So now there is something called design, I am supporting what Ashish said, called 208 volts. I have seen labs that are consuming more than 1 megawatt or 1000 kilowatts of power, and the designers have designed it with 208 volts, and 208 volts consumes more current is running in the wire than 480 volts is running in the wire. And when you go to 120 volts, now double of that, 2.5 times more is running. So the quantity of current and electricity that's running inside the wire increases as the voltage drops, because basic Ohm's law says voltage is directly proportional to current. With that, and especially this thing about if you throw peanuts, you get monkeys. My dad told me that when I was 8 years old. So he said anything that you think is cheap is going to be more expensive than you ever imagined within a week, within a month, within a year, within 5 years, and that is called life cycle cost. Okay, so with that, any questions? That's it? Everyone's ready to run out. All right guys, round of applause for all of you. Thank you very much. We had a great audience.
We've had today. At this time, I'd like to call Dr. Bora up to the stage and just give a quick closing remark before we go on to our networking mixer.
You guys still awake, right? Perfect. Hope you have a nice day. Now this networking session we have a wonderful booth here. Please go around and see and talk with them, what they're bringing in the table, how they can collaborate with you, or what product they're selling, or maybe like providing the services on. So please go ahead. I think they are our sponsors are here as well. They spend so much money on this conference. Everything is connected with the sponsorship. So please go ahead and welcome them and then go to the booth. We are also want to thank all the sponsors for gold sponsorship, who are basically getting the free membership for IB for next year, this current year. And then we have several vendors from the booth. We also have silver members and the bronze members. I think you saw some of them are having the vineyard, some of them are having the lunch session, some of them are in afternoon sessions. So thank you so much for that. And please continue the connection. We're building again tomorrow morning. Please don't forget to come tomorrow. We have half day. And the very much announcement is because of the less amount of posters, we are not doing the poster competition this year. However, we are actually postponing that sometime later this year when we have more proper announcement and reaching out to the more people, and we do the poster session later on. Right? So whoever submitted the poster, don't be disappointed. We will consider you for the next round of that thing as well. Right? So that's the one thing. One more important thing tomorrow is, if you see the agenda, we have an award ceremony where we are actually giving an Energy Champions Award to the client, to the students, to the alumni, to the stakeholders, to the government agencies, profit, full profit organization as well. So please come. And it's a lunch station tomorrow as well. So basically I want you to be like taking lunch, taking applause and welcoming a winner of the Energy Champion Award for 2024. And then we moving forward for the next 4 years, we'll have similar kind of award for that as well, which is basically recognizing our leaders in our regions. Right, so thank you so much. With that, I will say thank you so much and continue networking, and we'll see you tomorrow again.